Hi, I'm Amy Simonelli, one of the 3K teachers at PS 88 in Ridgewood, Queens. Today, I want to talk to you about item number 20 of the implementation tool. That's where you have to incorporate the different math components into the various centers of your classroom. This can seem overwhelming at first. I know it did for me. So I created a simple document where I listed the different math components, left spaces so I could jot down what I had that met those requirements, and I could also see what I still needed. It worked for me, and it might work for you. Let's take a tour of my classroom so I can show you how I incorporated the different math components into the centers. Come on, let's go. Let's start with one of my favorite centers, the Discovery Center. For numbers and operations, I've taken these empty metal cans and written numerals on the outside. The children can look at the number and count and place a number of objects into those cans. I also have these treat cookies where I've written a numeral on one side and the corresponding number of dots on the other. For patterning, I have these inexpensive wooden spools of different colors and shapes. I also have these metal objects, such as nuts and washers. This is my class's favorite thing to sort. I even have these sorting stones of different sizes and colors. For shapes, I have these three-dimensional wooden shapes. For measurement, I have a tape measure, measuring spoons, and measuring cups. For collecting, organizing, and representing data, I have these free lunch trays. The kids love to sort items on them. Now we're in the Dramatic Play Center. For numbers and operations, we have several items. A cash register, a telephone, assortment of food boxes showing their nutritional facts on the side, our class multicultural recipe book, where the parents have written recipes in their home language also showing numbers. For patterns, we have an assortment of things like different colored and shaped buttons, milk bottle caps of different colors, and an assortment of plastic and metal lids. The kids can make patterns by color and by color and shape. Not only do the buttons come in an assortment of shapes, but so do our plastic lids. We have circle, rectangle, and square. For measurement, we have our tape measure and measuring spoons. For collecting and representing data, remember, use those free lunch trays. Now we're at the Sand and Water Table Center. For numbers and operations, I have ping pong balls with numbers written on them. Those are great for the water table because they float. A set of 10 crabs, which I've written numbers on their backs. The kids love digging in the sand and finding those. I have some boats for the water table that have numbers on them. Now let's look at some patterning. I have some inexpensive hair rollers that they can put in the sand or the water table. They can pattern with them. They're different colors and different sizes. I also have seashells that they can use to make patterns and sort. For shapes, I have different foam shapes in the water table. And I've also even put some pattern blocks at times into the sand table so they can dig for those as well. For measurement, I have measuring cups and measuring spoons in both sand and water table. I even have an inexpensive free IKEA tape measure, just in case they might want to measure the length of the water table or the sand table. For representing and classifying data, I still have used those inexpensive free lunch trays so the children can sort So now we're in the Art Center. For numbers and operations, I have some number rubbing plates, some Play-Doh mats, and some number cookie cutters. For patterning, I have pom-poms of different sizes and colors, popsicle sticks of different colors. For shapes, I have some tracers or templates, as well as paper cutouts of different shapes that they can use in their collages and artwork. For measurement, again, I have a trusty tape measure that they use to measure different things in the center. And for data collection and representation, I have egg cartons, and also, again, I have those free lunch trays. Now we're in the Toys and Games Center. For numbers and operations, I have various number puzzles, various toys where they have to recognize a number and count out that number of objects. For patterning, I have lots of different things like bottle caps of different sizes and colors, again, pom-poms of different sizes and colors, and buttons that are lacing buttons that are different sizes, colors, and shapes. Speaking of shapes, I have various shape puzzles and shape sorters. For measurement, again, I have a tape measure where they like to measure the different objects and furniture in that center, as well as a pan balance. For collecting, representing, and analyzing data, I have sorting dishes, as well as those free lunch trays. Now we're in our library, which doubles as our cozy corner. For numbers and operations, I have posters with rhymes on them, such as 5 green and speckled frogs, 1, 2, buckle my shoe, and my class's favorite, 5 little ducks. I've also placed some puppets there so they can use them while retelling and rereading the poems. For patterns, I chose pom-poms of different colors and different sizes. They can sort them by size, by color. I thought it might be nice because they're soft, and since this is my cozy corner, I thought it would work best. For shapes, I have sensory 2-dimensional shapes and sensory 3-dimensional shapes. For measurement, again, I've placed the tape measure in this center so the children can measure different objects that they see, as well as the furniture. For collecting and representing data, again, I have those free trays where the children can sort the pom-poms and any other object that they might want to in the center. Here we are in the block center. For numbers and operations, an easy and inexpensive thing to do is make parking spots for the vehicles and cars you have. The students love matching the numbered cars to the numbered parking spots. I've also written some numbers on some soft foam blocks. This way the kids can stack and order the numbers. You'll also see I have some stacking buckets that also nest into each other. Now let's take a look for patterns. I have some inexpensive wooden spools of different sizes and different colors. The kids love to make patterns and to sort these. They also love to add them to their structures. For patterns, I also have these large foam pattern blocks where the kids can make their patterns and pictures as well. These pattern blocks are not only good for patterning, but also are there for shapes and shape recognition. Remember, you have blocks in your block center that already have shapes. That'll be good for shape recognition as well. For measurement, I have a tape measure. The kids love to measure their structures and just simply measure the furniture around in the center. Now for collecting and representing and organizing data, I have these lunch trays. They're free. The kids can sort the animals, the people, the wooden spools, whatever they like on these trays. Well, that's the end of our tour. I hope it was helpful. Just remember, take a deep breath, write it down if you have to, like I did, and the ideas will start flooding in. You've got this.